Shelley Carney and Toby Eunice bring you New Mexico day trips. Visit national parks, monuments, state parks, and historical sites. See the amazing and unique desert vistas of the Land of Enchantment and walk through the visitor centers, museums, and Pueblo ruins with us. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and flavors of New Mexico. Let's have an adventure.
So that little clip from the Three Rivers Petrogo site is one of my favorites.
Yeah, because I'm pointing.
I don't know what it is. It's because you're on top of a mountain, for God's sakes.
Yeah, not a mountain, just a hill.
It's a pretty serious mountain. I'd call it a little mountain.
You have climbed real mountains.
Yeah,
before.
well,
You
I
know
have.
that wasn't a real mountain.
Okay. Well, I'm just...
Hello and
So
welcome
nice.
to New Mexico Day Trips. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Tonight we're going to be talking about our trip to Ghost Ranch. That's just in Abiquiu, New Mexico. For those of you who are familiar with Toby's story about stealing his motorcycle, he went to Abiquiu to do that.
We were back there again. I almost thought about turning up the road. So as you go through, you take New Mexico 84 up there. And as you get right into Abiquiu, there's a road that goes up the side of the hill. And that leads to kind of Abiquiu proper with the Penitentes and my mother's mother, my grandmother on my mother's side, Espinosa, their family had property up there. That's how, and that's how my uncle was up there. But yeah, we went back to visit, brought back a lot of pleasant memories.
Yeah, it was very nice.
And we go by Abiquiu Reservoir, and that was one of our first trips with the Mexico Day trip. So.
That's true.
Yeah. So what do you want to tell everybody now about anything?
Well, we have released our blog and published our website, so you can go read our blog posts about some of the places that we visited. We started it in January. We didn't go back to, August, I guess we could say, when we started going to Elephant View back in August. But we just started in January because we didn't want to try to have to catch back up with all the stuff we've already done back in 2022. And
Shelley takes the responsibility, and for a variety of reasons, for writing all our blog posts. And
Toby's too busy with editing the videos.
But Shelley's an outstanding writer.
We sound like we're in a hollow space.
Oh, we do.
All right.
Sound
We'll
like
take
we're
off
in a...
the echo. I think I took off the echo.
Why did you take off the echo?
Because I was recording a podcast
Ah,
and it did it
okay.
in stereo.
So audio default, mic default. No, it says echo cancellation.
Oh, we went back to regular. Okay.
Hmm.
I don't know. What else could it be?
It's not on the board. I mean, it's only showing up as two channels right there, both channels going out. So, although a lot of my voice, see how my voice spikes your channel.
Yeah.
Let's turn you down a little bit, see if that helps at all.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that could be part of
Let
it.
us know if that's any better.
Yeah. So we don't think we have a technical issue. We think we have a big mouth issue, I guess is what's big mouth.
But
I should talk a little bit quieter, I guess.
it was Toby's birthday yesterday. He had a big old birthday, so we went out to dinner and had some champagne.
And German chocolate cake,
Cake,
because it's Shelley's favorite cake.
party time.
And I've gotten too lazy to make my annual pineapple upside down cake, I think. So when you get to be 74, you're like,
Well, but it just seemed to be like German chocolate was the cake of the year.
yeah, we did a lot of German chocolate cakes. I mean, we got one for you, got one for Sean. Somebody else had a birthday. I got one for somebody else too. Albertson's German chocolate cakes are really good.
Okay.
I've got to like them a lot.
All right.
They may become my favorite.
So anyway.
So yeah,
Happy
we
birthday to
celebrated.
Toby.
We celebrated my 74th birthday yesterday. Had a great time, and lots of things moving with New Mexico Day trips. We've got our website up, our blog. Oh, I started to say, if you haven't read Shelley's blog entries, you should. They are very heartfelt. They are very thoughtful. and she captures a lot of what we're experiencing in the form of the emotions of doing what we're doing. And I love reading them. It's always a pleasant surprise because she works us into the story. She works our partnership, and she mentions me when I'm taking pictures or making videos, and sometimes she can make light of the things that I do, and I don't mind because I know she thinks they're funny in a funny way, not in a crazy way. So I really enjoy reading them. So you should too. You should take a look at them.
nmdaytrips.com.
It'll be on the scroll below, but I also put it into the chat if you guys want to go visit it. So what do we have going on today?
Today we're going to talk about the Ghost Ranch.
I cannot hear you.
Okay, I don't know what to
All
tell
right,
you.
let's do that.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Ghost Ranch. We've got show and tell. We're going to show you some of the things we bought. We're going to tell you stories about it, and we're going to show you our pictures, and then we'll show you the video.
So in what order do you want to do things?
I think we should show the stuff first, then the pictures, then the video.
Okay.
Stuff first.
All right, the stuff. So I will be the Vanna White and just put the stuff up, and you can talk about it. How's that?
Well, I think we both talk about it, but yes.
Okay.
This is a book
This is a book.
that Toby bought. And did you buy this at the Welcome Center?
At the Welcome Center.
There's a Georgio O'Keeffe Welcome Center in Abiquiu, Highway 85.
84.
84.
85 goes up to
84.
John.
And we stopped there on the way back from Ghost Ranch. We saw it on the way up, but we're like, well, we'll hit it on the way
They had a
back.
mission, yeah.
So we did. We went there, and they had books, and they had art and other nice things. So Toby chose this book. Why did you choose this book?
So I chose this book because it was the definitive book that they had in stock. There is a set, and you'll see it in the movie, in tonight's movie. There is a set that is called Catalogue Raison, or Raison Catalogue. And it's basically the collected works of Georgio O'Keeffe.
It's her oeuvre.
The oeuvre, Georgio O'Keeffe's oeuvre.
Yeah.
The woman who with Georgio O'Keeffe and her partner wrote that 2-volume set. I found them today on Aid Books, and that's kind of where I thought the woman that put those 2 volumes together. They're huge. They're that thick together. Also wrote this, and so I thought it was appropriate because it has all kinds of Georgio O'Keeffe's work. She wasn't just a painter. She did some sculpture.
Well, she started to go not blind, but she was
Right.
had a hard time seeing as she got older. I mean, she lived to be 99 years old, so she lived a really long life. And when she was getting very old, she couldn't see as well to do art, so somebody helped her to start sculpting.
Yeah. So, and when you get to Ghost Ranch, you realize, and again, I say this in the movie, in tonight's movie, there are basically 3 storylines at Ghost Ranch. One is the storyline of Ghost Ranch itself, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. The second line is the Georgio O'Keeffe, the relationship between Georgio O'Keeffe and Ghost Ranch. And then the third storyline is
Paleontology.
the museums, the museums of paleontology and anthropology. It turns out that the Museum of Anthropology is they're both small museums, but they're both tied closely to Ghost Ranch because they provide both, they provide archaeological as well as anthropological, as well as paleontological insights into things that existed on the Ghost Ranch proper and not anyplace else. And so those 3 storylines, I'll tell you a little bit about the Ghost Ranch storyline in just a bit, but part of all that is Georgio O'Keeffe and what she brought to this story and how committed she was to the location. And there's a mountain that overlooks, it's actually on the other side of the Abiquiu lake or reservoir, and it's called Cerro Pedernal. And Pedernal, there's no first R, Pedernal, and it means Flint Hill. And the prehistoric peoples that lived in the area were called the Gainas, the Gaina people. And they used to use pedernal as a source for their flint. And then they would use that flint to make weapons and tools. And they were an element of their trade. So they used to trade the flint to other tribes for whatever the other tribes, maize and pottery and things like that. So she fell in love with that mountain to the extent, and I think you put the quote in the blog, about she thought that when she passed away, that God should give her that mountain. She had painted it so many times. So I thought, again, along with the Georgio O'Keeffe storyline.
And they did take her ashes up to the top
Right.
of Pedernal.
Right, they spread her ashes over Pedernal. And you'll see it in several of our pictures as we put it in our selfies. But that's Cerro Pedernal as it was painted one of the times, because she did it dozens of times, by Georgio O'Keeffe. So I wanted to get that print as well. Although the visitor center, the gift shop in the visitor center at Ghost Ranch was very good, the welcome center, which is totally uncharacteristic for northern New Mexico. It's like a visitor center that you might, or the welcome center that you might see in Washington or New York City. It was that elegant and that just beautifully constructed, and had a great gift shop with a lot of her work, a lot of her books. And so I thought, appropriate to the fact that she's one of the storylines, I wanted to come home with the book written by the same woman that helped her with her 2-volume catalog raison set. And I thought that was important, plus to get a print that I could put up on my wall, because I did admire her work. I wasn't, having been a fine arts major, you have to study all these people, but she was especially close because she was always tied in the latter half of her life to New Mexico. Not that she didn't travel all over the world and paint all over the world, but the biggest body of her work was painted while she was in New Mexico. And as a matter of fact, one of her flower pieces sold back in 2016 for $44 million, which at that time was the highest price paid for a female artist's work. So she's a significant, she's significant to New Mexico at her work. So we got the free Abiquiu postcards, again with Cerro Pedernal on the background. We got a couple of those. Oopsies. Oopsies. Dropped that. The problem with these high chairs is that you can't bend over from them. You have to get out of them and bend over. So Shelley and I did get patches for our photographer's vests. And this is the Ghost Ranch logo. And even it has a story. One of the gentlemen that owned Ghost Ranch, I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. One of the gentlemen that owned Ghost Ranch, she had sketched a cow skull for him. And he was so impressed by the work that he incorporated it into the Ghost Ranch logo. So that's from the cow sketch, the cow skull sketch that she drew. And that's there. Here's a better view of it right there. So that's the Ghost Ranch logo. Abiquiu does have some things to offer. I mean, it's more than just Ghost Ranch. We saw several locations of, a lavender. What was the lavender thing?
Lavender Farm.
Lavender Farm. No, purple.
Well, it's a spa too, I think.
Purple something lavender, because it is a.
Yeah, it's in the
Anyway, it's very northern New Mexico, but it seems to have
purple adobe lavender.
Purple adobe lavender farm. So, and the Rio Chama goes through the area. When you're at Ghost Ranch, you're literally right across the road from Abiquiu Reservoir and Lake, and that one is run by the Corps of Engineers, and we were very impressed with the manner in which they maintained that. The services that they provide, the picnic areas, the camping areas with bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. It's one of the nicest places up in northern New Mexico for an outing, whether it's, they do allow, of course, boating, but the camping and picnic areas are just well maintained. So we decided to get ourselves some pins, some Ghost Ranch pins. Let me take it out of the bag so you can see that. I got one for Shelley and one for myself. And Shelley sees these things, and I kind of count on her to put the things together, so that we can have them.
Any sweatshirts? That's for you.
Can you show me the Ghost Ranch sweatshirt? And you got a t-shirt. Did you show me a t-shirt?
No, show it to next week.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's a good
Because
idea.
it's about next week's show.
So that's that. And then, okay, well, I'm going to save these for next week too. That's very cool. We actually,
That's
you
like a
should,
skull.
you should have showed him that next week because but we went back the second time.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we went to the dinosaur.
Okay. All right. So we'll save that for next week. So we have
Only
stories.
too many stories. All right.
So we had a great time. There was some disappointment. So let me tell you a little bit about the Ghost Ranch. So the Ghost Ranch comes from an old Spanish grant, and it was given to a family by the name of Archuleta. And if you ever look at it on the map, it's 244. Is it 144 or 244,000 acres? It's huge.
Whatever you wrote in the.
It's huge. It's 122,000 acres, right? It actually extends from one side of Ghost Ranch all the way over to the reservoir. That's Ghost Ranch property. So it was run by this Archuleta family. Unfortunately, the Archuletas were not exactly God-fearing, law-abiding citizens. They were cattle rustlers, horse thieves and cattle rustlers. And they would steal the cattle, they'd steal cattle. They had a little gang, right? They had accumulated a gang with them. And they would steal cattle and they'd run it up to Ghost Ranch. And there's a bunch of blind canyons up there that they would hide them in, but they had water in them. And so they'd store the cattle there until they could run up to Colorado and Oklahoma and sell them. They also did the same with horses. So they did that for years and years. Eventually, they became the bane of the area, Abiquiu, et cetera, et cetera. So the way it got the name Ghost Ranch was because the people in the area believed that because of all the bad things that happened there, it was.
There was also a story from the Native Americans who believed there
Right.
was a big snake that lived in the mountain.
So it always had brujas and Native American stories associated with it. And so the Spanish started calling it El Rancho de Brujas, witches. De los brujas, brujos. And there's not a male witch, it's a warlock. But they used to call them El Rancho de los Brujos, the male witches. And so that eventually boiled down to Ghost Ranch after, well, let me finish the Archuleta story. So
Well, they wanted to continue that idea that it was haunted to keep
Right.
people away from their ranch.
Right.
So they wouldn't catch them stealing cattle.
So what happened to the Archuletas is they built a house, and as a matter of fact, it's called the Ghost House. There's a sign on it that it's called the Ghost House. At some point, the people were so intolerant that they had to stop cattle rustling and horse stealing, and so their little gang broke up.
No. Nacho and.
Well, that's what it gets to that point.
Had a fight.
But the reason it was down to Nacho and Mateo was because they lost their gang.
No, they were fighting over money. And when Nacho killed his brother,
Is that when they got mad?
Mateo, then everybody else was like, and they ran away.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. So yeah, the older brother killed the younger brother. The older brother, Nacho, killed the younger brother, Mateo, over issues related to money, selling horses and cattle. And so the gang members ran away, and sometimes, and then the townspeople.
Nacho was the only one left there.
Right.
So they went and hung him.
They went and hung him. No jury, no trial, no, let's take him to jail. They just took him out there, found a tree, and there are a lot of them there, and just threw a rope over the tree, one of the branches of the tree, and hung him. Well, somehow or the other, it ended up in the hands of some people that decided it would make a good dude ranch. And so
It was lost in a poker game.
well, we have to get to that point first, right? So it was lost in a poker game because a cowboy who worked at this quote undeveloped dude ranch ended up with the deed. He ended up with the deed to this 122,000 acres, and he was kind of a lush, but he was married to an Eastern woman, a woman
The guy who won it was married to the Eastern. The guy who won it in the poker pot.
Oh, he was the lush.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. So at some point in somebody's life, the deed ended up in a poker game, and it ended up on the table as somebody saying, okay, well, here's the deed to my land, 122,000 acres. And the guy that won it was a cowboy that was married to an Eastern woman, right?
Right, she was a piano teacher.
A piano teacher.
Played the piano or something.
Right. He was kind of a lush, so she didn't trust him. So at some point, I thought this was very convenient. At some point, she managed to have the deed to the property put in her name, and then she divorced him. So Cowboy, who won the poker game, won the deed to the poker game, took off, and he was never seen again. But she's the one that decided to make it into a dude ranch and have the Easterners. And she did that for several years, couldn't make a go of it. She was kind of, the Ghost Ranch is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there is no, the closest civilization is Abiquiu, and there's no Walmart in Abiquiu.
Taos is where people were coming from,
Yeah.
too.
So, but it attracted a lot of these wealthy Eastern families, the Johnson of Johnson & Johnson fame, the Rockefellers, they were all coming out. And,
And the pilot.
Lindbergh. I have a problem with Lindbergh because he was pro-Nazi.
Mm,
Not,
interesting.
yeah, he actually thought that Adolf Hitler was a good guy.
Anyway,
Which is why he doesn't have a big place in history. He does have history because he flew the Atlantic. But anyway, so it turned into this dude ranch, and she managed it for a while, but it got progressively more difficult. She wanted to go back to some place where there was civilization, so she sold
right.
to somebody Pack and his wife.
Albert or Alfred or something.
Alfred, right, and he had been coming to this location because he had a daughter that was asthmatic
Yeah,
or pneumonia. She had bad lungs,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he brought his wife along, and she hated the
people
location.
are going, you don't know this story
I
at
do know
all."
this story. I do know it. It's just been a whole week since I've had to tell it. And so he brought his wife, daughter, when he bought it, and he moved them onto the ranch. And the tutor. And after they had been there a while, the wife ran off with a tutor. Who knows why? So eventually he married someone else, and they maintained the ranch for several years, all the way through the 1970s.
No, I think he into the 55. I think it was 55 when he gave it over to the Presbyterian Church.
Oh, yeah? Was it that early?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it the 70s?
Mm-hmm. So 55. I was looking at it again today, the stories.
Oh, well, that's why you know it.
Yeah.
Hell, I haven't already
I wrote
since.
a blog post on it
Good point.
while I worked on it all day.
So anyway, he holds this for a while, and eventually his new bride, by this time not new, but bride, is getting tired of not living near civilization. So they moved to Tucson.
But wasn't she the one that was like into the paleontology?
No.
One of the guy's wives was.
Wasn't
it her?
I don't remember. I remember the picture. I got pictures of it.
Oh. Anyway, one of the wives was into paleontology.
So they moved to Tucson. But before he moved, he decided he was going to sell the property. Actually, he decided he was going to donate the property.
Donated it.
And he looked for somebody to donate to. And the agreement had to be that whomever he donated, whoever to whom he donated it, was required to keep it as a working dude ranch with all the features and
And
facilities.
not have it developed or sell off pieces.
Right, exactly. That it had to be the same. And this, you can tell on a map. I'll show you one of these times. I'll show you the map that from the property is amazing in its size. So he turned it over to the Presbyterian Church. And my first question was, why not the Catholics? Considering the Catholics are the biggest landowners in the world.
He was probably Presbyterian.
He was probably Presbyterian. Anyway, gave it to the Presbyterians, and they turned it into dude ranch / education center / retreat / bring your Presbyterian kids, and we'll turn them into real men and women. They have challenge courses. As you're driving towards the main area, they have challenge courses that are designed to help kids gain confidence and things, or adults gain confidence. So that was the Ghost Ranch story. So it has its own little story, independent of the relationship with Georgio O'Keeffe and independent with these two museums, one of anthropology / archaeology and the other of paleontology. Both of those museums were the result of people who were there, and I'll have to look it up again, who took an interest and made discoveries that were unique to this area. Finding fossils that dated back to the Triassic period, which was the period between 200 million and 250 million years ago, including one. Do you want to talk about this week or next week?
Next week.
Okay. So we're going to talk about these next week because the Museum of Anthropology and the Museum of Paleontology were both founded by women who were amateurs. No, I guess there was a woman that was an archaeologist that took it over, but who were amateurs and just took an interest and eventually got the interest of scientists, paleontologists, pardon me?
Colbert.
Got the interest of paleontologists and anthropologists and archaeologists, and it's become a major site for researching the Triassic period. Now you got to remember remember the dinosaurs saw their end about 65 million years ago. The first dinosaurs arrived after the fifth mass extinction. That's when they started developing. That was about 250 million years ago. So dinosaurs, various forms of dinosaurs, were on this planet from 250 million years ago to around 63, 65 million years ago. The period we're talking about, the Triassic period, is 250 million to 200 million years ago, right? And that was a completely different breed of dinosaurs. The most important creature that lived in this area during that period was basically a big effing crocodile, and they have his bones there in the Paleontology Museum. So it just has a wonderfully amazing story. I mean, it's just, like I said, between the Ghost Ranch story, between the relationship between Ghost Ranch, or the relationship between Ghost Ranch and Georgio O'Keeffe, and then the relationship between Ghost Ranch and science, it's just a cool place to be. It is so cool a place that we had to make a second trip.
Well, yes.
So, all right, let me go back and
questions.
let's see if we got any questions. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. You don't have to be afraid of ghosts. Ghosts are all friendly.
We didn't see any.
We didn't see any. How did they get the name Ghost Ranch? Rancho de Brujas. Happy birthday, Toby. Thank you, Scott. Let's see. I think a different mic other than your headset is picking up your voice. Sounds like you're talking in a tin can. That's really interesting.
You're plugged in, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's mine, but why would mine pick up your voice all the way over?
Because I'm the big mouth. Let me see.
That's why we use these,
So you didn't have to do that, right?
Up.
So let me just check this real quick. So I'm up at 55 dB. It's not going over. There's no plus there. Off. 0 is off.
Do you remember when you called me the other day and I said it sounded like you were talking from across the room? Did you figure out what that was about?
Yeah, my microphone, for whatever reason, wasn't on. Now it's on because, why is it an instrument? No, it's a dynamic. And, don't know, guys. And I won't be able to see until I can actually hear it, but if I hear it, then we've got double volume coming in. Let me make sure it's not something.
122,000 acres.
Let me make sure it's not something on my settings here. Just give me a second. Generals, shift videos, audio. Oh, microphone, default microphone. See that it's using the damn
webcam?
Yeah.
Oh no.
How did that happen?
I have no idea. All right. So in 20 seconds, take a sound and tell us. You guys were absolutely right. It started picking up. I mounted this camera over here.
Oh, that's what you did.
So you can see it, and it was picking it up. There we go. Is that better?
That's what happened.
Sorry about that, guys. That was my fault I forget every time you plug another camera into this system,
it goes with the, it picks up the audio. It says, it thinks that's the audio. So it was picking it up on this camera that I'm using for the
Overhead.
the one that I'm using for the overhead. This one here.
There, we got it. All right.
Okay. So good.
So let's go back and tell the story about Ghost Ranch again. Well,
What?
no. Did you want to tell that whole story again?
Which one?
The whole ranch story, Los Ranchos de los Brujos. No?
We did that already. Oh, you mean
No.
without the echo? Yeah, it isn't that bad. I mean,
Oh,
it's going to sound kind of echoey, but,
Are you
but
ready
I'm
to show
sure.
pictures then?
Yeah, you want to see some pictures?
Let's do the pictures.
So let's do.
So the pictures are on Google if you would like to look at them yourself. The link is in the description box.
Oh, you already shared it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Well
Because I'm
done.
so good.
Wow, look at you. I'm going to put it in the chat room too. How's that?
Yeah.
Thanks for noticing the audio issues, guys. I should have realized that it was going to be a problem because I did plug in that I hadn't used that overhead camera in a while. And
Share the photos.
share the photos and those to the
There
stream.
they are.
All
So
right.
we first went there apparently on the 7th. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Saturday the 7th. And then we went back again on the 13th, Friday the 13th. The first day we went was a little bit breezier than the second day, but still sunny, as you can see. Sunny, no clouds. Nice day.
And again,
Pretty
this is
much.
one of those places I want to go back in the spring where there's color, because it's just winter
Yeah.
brown. It's
Yeah.
it would
That's
be,
what happens when you do outdoors in the wintertime.
I think all these places that we've done in the wintertime, we're going to go back and we're not going to call it it's going to be a day trip, but it's going to be like a photo safari. We're just going to go back to take pictures
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
so
And
these
do
places.
anything that we didn't get to do because it
Yeah.
was too cold.
Okay, here's my partner.
That's
I'll let
me.
you do the
There's Toby driving the car, and that's
Christy's-
still in Bernalillo. So there he is putting the camera on the car.
So
Truck.
you've seen the video that we make, and we have a GoPro, either a GoPro or an DJI action camera on the hood, and that's an additional power supply that gives it 5 to 7 hours of power. And then those are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains with snow on the top up there.
Yep.
Second shot. I thought I edited
And you
this.
can see the mountains off in the distance. That's the Santa Fe Mountains. Is that
Sangre de Cristos.
Sangre de Cristo.
Mhm.
A little bit of snow on the top.
So this is 599. This is the bypass. So that's the image the camera produces. So this is our arrival at Ghost Ranch.
We're on a little pullout where the City Slickers cabin is. They call it that because the movie City Slickers with Billy Crystal was shot there.
What other movies were shot there? Because you saw the whole list, right?
Yeah, they had like Young Guns and a bunch of Western type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great area. It's funny. I think I've told you guys this before, but whenever Shelley and I see a Western movie, you can tell the areas of New Mexico that it was shot in, and a lot of them are shot in this area. It's because of the canyons and the color and things like that. There's a
the
lot
City
of flat area.
Slickers cabin. And yeah, a little corral. This is the map that's right there.
As you come in.
By the
Yeah.
cabin. That's
Selfie.
a selfie in the parking lot.
And see that
There's
right
a-
there?
Yeah,
That's
there it
the
is.
Cerro Pedernal,
Pedernal.
Flint Hill.
Yep. That is the cottage that Georgio O'Keeffe first stayed in when she first started going to Ghost Ranch. And then one time she went there and somebody was staying in there and she was all mad. She's like, why is somebody in my house? And they said, well, you can go stay in this other place. And then she liked that one so much, she thought it was her place. And then she came one day and that one was being stayed in. And she said, I don't like this. I'm going to buy that place. And so they sold her that home. So, and it's still designated as her home, but it's in an area of the property that they don't let people go to unless you're on one of the tours.
Right. And all of this is run by the Georgio O'Keeffe Foundation. It's a nonprofit, but it must be very wealthy. I mean, they must do really well for themselves. The Georgio O'Keeffe Foundation.
Yeah.
You can tell just by the quality of publishing that they do, the tours that they do, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just kind of a look around when you're at the ranch proper. And
I think that's the dining hall.
this one over here. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was this one.
No, you're right. It is this one. The one with the porch.
That's me. That's Toby at the Agape Center, where they have special events there. Sometimes they have concerts or they do workshops and things like that. So really nice facility for it.
Yeah, we do get that's for us. It's funny to have a blue sky like that because we want clouds because the clouds would make the time lapses. And it's very cool to have clouds, but we do have these beautiful turquoise blue skies. Is that the same property as the Alex Baldwin movie that was filmed? No, that was near Santa Fe. That was a property near Santa Fe.
Yeah. This one's not too far from Santa Fe, but it is north.
It is north, yeah. But the property that you're talking about is a property. It is used for filming, a lot of filming, and it's between Santa Fe and Pecos. They're different property. It's actually designed. The property owners set it up to be a filmmaking location. They have a fake town and everything.
Mm.
So all of it's done in this colonial style, Spanish colonial style of architecture. That is me not taking a selfie. See that's right there. That's the chesty. So I'm a 3-camera kind of guy. Down here is the Pocket, the DJI Pocket. Here's my iPhone 14 with 3 lenses on it, and that's the chesty with an action camera on it.
That's the kitchen. They called it the kitchen something, kitchen bluff or something like that, I think.
So there was a little bit of snow
There's
on the
Panoramic.
ground. Yeah, you can see right here. There's a little bit of snow on the ground on the shady sides of each of the hills. There was a little bit of snow that they had. There's going to be a bunch of.
Are we
They're
in the
expecting
ghost
a big
house
storm.
here? What's this?
Pardon me?
Is this the ghost house? Or?
No, that's the Agape Center. That's the patio to the Agape Center.
Oh, okay. You took that one, so I didn't know. There's Pedernal in the background. I made Toby take a picture of this tree because it was so interesting and
It was a pretty
gnarly.
interesting tree. That's the one where they hang.
Oh, you don't know. See the ghost up in the branches?
See the ghost in the branches. That's Nacho.
He wouldn't be white.
Nacho or Chuleta. This thing, I wanted to get this wagon. I had to go back 3 times to get this shot because most of the time it was in the shade. This was one of the few times I caught it with the sunlight. So when we went back, we took some more pictures. So this is one of the houses on the property that's private property. The road that leads down tells you you're going down private property. So there are people that have purchased land for whatever reason to have their own pieces of property there. This up here, this formation up here is called Chimney Rock. And you can actually hike up this hill along this ridge up there. If you want a closer picture of it, it was just easier to use a telephoto lens.
Wally wants to know if you ever met Georgio O'Keeffe.
I did not. I was in towards the end of her life.
She was very reclusive.
Yeah, she was reclusive. She did go to the gallery occasionally for the big openings because her gallery, the Welcome Center is not a gallery. The gallery is actually in Santa Fe, but that was during a period where I was on the East Coast when she died in 96 or she was 96.
And she was
88 and she was 96. Yeah. That was a period.
She was 99 when she died.
Oh. Man, am I glad that you're here to correct me.
Yeah, that's Chimney Rock.
Chimney Rock. So there's a lot of those kinds of formations up there. So, and this white area right here above that line, that's the limestone that represents all of this property. All of this area was under the ocean at one time. It was in what they called the Western Interior Seaway. So this was under the water at some point. What?
Scott says, "Oh, okay. My stepmom has a relative that owns some of that property."
Yeah. There are people who own property there. So there's the city
Slickers
cabin, Cerro Pedernal, and you can just see a little bit of
Abiquiu.
it right there is Abiquiu Reservoir. And the property line, the Ghost Ranch property line, I was looking at it on Gaia GPS, goes all the way down to the water there. So the high water mark. So we did some drone work that day. We decided not to shoot on the property because we didn't have permission. So we did some drone work on the way back because these areas are so representative of this. And you can see that white limestone layer all across this. That's the result of being underwater. So this is inside the Welcome Center. It's a display. She used to go and camp. This is her little campsite setup. When she wanted to paint, she'd take her tent out. And she was in her 70s when she was doing this stuff. She was still going out camping with her little chair. She'd set up a easel, a standing easel, and she would paint there. So a drone shot of Abiquiu Reservoir. You can see how far. So the high water mark at Abiquiu was this line right here. And you can see how much it's receded. The hills, the islands that are showing up, you wouldn't have seen before. And also you can see how the water's receding here. So it's all part of the western drought that we're all experiencing. If you go up to El Vado is even worse, and Lake Heron is worse. They're doing work on El Vado. So they've released a lot of the water into Abiquiu Reservoir. And this is all Chama River water, which is where Albuquerque's water comes from. Highway opposite the reservoir. Again, these are all drone shots of the area. You can tell it's rough, and it's like perfect if you're doing that cowboy type film, that looks like it's rough and cowboy and barren. You could, once you're on one side of Ghost Ranch, you could travel for, 20 miles without crossing a road or a telephone line or anything like that. So this is a little parking lot we were in to launch the drone. So it was just it was marked picnic table.
Yeah, there's one table.
One picnic table in the shade there. And this car was parked there in the morning and the afternoon when we were leaving. So we figured they were carpooling to Los Alamos. So a lot of people.
It was Saturdays, so I don't know.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all the pictures.
All right. Time for the movie.
You ready for the movie?
Get your popcorn out.
Let me see what I got on here. I don't want to have Toby ever meet. Oh, no, I didn't. I
think that's it.
Yeah. So it is a beautiful area. It's if you're geologically inclined or paleontologically inclined or anthropologically.
Like dinosaurs.
If you like dinosaurs, it's a great area for it.
Coelophysis.
Coelophysis, which is the New Mexico State dinosaur because it was found there.
Yeah.
No,
it's a state fossil.
They don't say it's a state fossil.
Yes, they do.
They don't say it's a state dinosaur. No, you don't show me or don't.
It's fossil.
All right, you'll get to see it next week. She's wearing her Coelophysis t-shirt.
My dinosaur shirt.
Did Forrest Fenn ever explore the area around Ghost Ranch? Not to the best of my knowledge, but I don't know. He might have. It's not. So I think Forrest's field fascination, was with artifacts, Indian artifacts. And this isn't an area that produces a lot of artifacts. There was a prehistoric tribe there called, as I said, the Gallinas tribe, but they didn't leave a lot behind. When we were in the Museum of Anthropology, even the pottery was traded pottery. They used to trade flint for pottery and corn, things like that. So I don't get a sense. Plus, you're on private property, and the simple fact of the matter is, getting permission to dig like that on private property takes a lot of work. Even the people that they had working there were professionals, and while they did have permission, there is a place up north for a little bit further north, and it's a place that's on national forest property. And it's been excavated for fossils. And I called about it. I asked if it was open to the public, and they said no, that they had shut it down, that area down, that it's only open to the people responsible for doing the digs. So I don't know the answer for certain. I mean, I don't know whether he did ever or not. All right.
It's not
Ready for
something
movie?
we ever heard about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ready for movie?
Yep.
All
movie
right.
time.
Let's
Movie time. Get your
do the
popcorn
movie.
out. Movie time.
I always feel
movie
like we should be
time.
turning
Let's
off
all
the
scream
lights,
and
but then we wouldn't
shout.
have any.
What? We're on our way to the Ghost Ranch. And while we were riding in the car, we were listening to the audio tour that's available on Izzy. It's an app that we found that you can do audio tours on. So we might start doing that ourselves. And we learned about the history of the Ghost Ranch. And it started off as a, place where cattle rustlers were living. But actually, I think it goes further back than that because it was already called Ranch of the Witches at that point. So there was a lot going on there. Witching and monstering and all that stuff. Ghosts and all that. And then cattle rustling, and then the Dude Ranch. Because the cattle rustlers, well, it was two brothers, and one brother killed the other brother. Nacho killed Mateo, and then everybody else left, and so then the townspeople came in and hung Nacho because they could, and because he was a cattle rustler. They were afraid to do it when there was a bunch of bad guys there, but when there was only one bad guy, then it was okay. They could run in there and do that. So then nobody wanted it for a while, and then they turned it into a dude ranch. It did pretty well, and then eventually Georgio O'Keeffe showed up and started hanging out there because she liked the area, and she started painting landscapes and desert flowers and all of that. So it became more famous, and people came out there like the Lindberghs and
the Rockefellers,
the
Johnson family of Johnson and Johnson fame.
Johnson family, Johnson and Johnson, and then Mr. Pack, I can't remember his first name, bought the place, and then when he was done with it, he donated it to the Presbyterian Church so that it could be like a conservation area. So we're going to go there, see the Ghost Ranch, and go through the museums. There's a museum of paleontology, which we learned about on the audio tour, and there's Coelophysis is the dinosaur that was found on Ghost Ranch, and apparently there was just a mountain of skeletons of these Coelophysis dinosaurs, and they're like a kind of a dog-sized roadrunner, is what I would say, which probably developed into the state bird, which is the roadrunner, and that was the state dinosaur. So, I know that makes sense, right? Anyway, we're going to go see the Paleontology Museum, the Anthropology Museum, the library, and the Ghost Ranch itself.
Proper.
And, I don't know what else we'll do there when we get there, but we'll find out. We should get there around noon. It's about 11:35 right now. What do you want to say?
I just want to say it's interesting to me that there's, as you mentioned, 3 possible storylines. Is the storyline the museums? Is the storyline the relationship between Georgio O'Keeffe, the landscape, and Ghost Ranch? Or is the museum the Ghost Ranch? I'm sorry, the third storyline, the Ghost Ranch itself, the storyline of Ghost Ranch. So I'm curious to see what kind of attracts our attention once we get there. I was there years and years ago. I don't even remember why, because it is a dude ranch, and because you can stay there. I think maybe one time we'll have to rent one of the places and go up there and stay a couple of nights and see what it's like.
It's supposed to be haunted.
Yeah, it's supposed to be haunted. That's why they call it Ghost Ranch. But even the Native Americans believed the area was haunted, with spirits. So I'm curious to see which one of those storylines we follow. Try to get some drone footage because we're going to be in an area that's very colorful, which is why Georgio O'Keeffe found it so interesting and came back over and again. And so
she eventually bought a house that was on the property
A summer home, yeah.
That was
Did
one
they
of
call
her
it a
homes,
summer?
and
Yeah.
she had another house in Abiquiu, apparently.
Right. That one I remember because everybody knew about it. You know, the community. My grandmother's family, Espinosa, comes from the Abiquiu area. So, looks like an interesting trip. We should have fun. I want to turn on the time lapse here in just a sec. So, thanks, you guys.
Here we are at Ghost Ranch with all the horsies. And red rocks all around. You can kind of tell the layers. This used to be underwater.
Turn onto private
Okay,
drive.
Yeah. So it used to be underwater, is that correct? Am I right? Or in
There was a time at which all of this was under the Western Inland Sea.
Inland Sea. And there was dinosaurs.
There was dinosaurs during the Triassic. The Western Inland Sea, that was much closer to us, right? It was after the Paleolithic.
And then the water went away, and then people came.
And here we are. It's a nice layout. I remember, like I said, I remember having been here before. This looks like it's
Silo Pisces.
This looks like it's the
Museum.
Museum of Anthropology and the Museum of Paleontology.
Welcome center's ahead.
We're gonna go to the
Chimney Rock is that way, and so is the mesa.
So I'm gonna ask them about drones. I have a funny feeling they're probably not okay, but doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, why not? Why not ask? Because if not, then we'll just go down the road a bit and do it there.
And do it there, yeah.
So,
All right, guys, here we are at the Welcome Center.
ta-da! We made it. All the big giant cottonwoods. Sprawling ranch home. All right, let's go on in. All right, here we are at the Ghost Ranch. There you see it behind me, the Welcome Center. And we weren't very welcomed because the museums are closed. And they said, well, you can walk around the property and look at their little video and use their bathrooms, and then you can, that's about it. There's a tour that we could take if we wanted to. It's the Georgio O'Keeffe landscape tour. It happens at 1:45. It's $42. They take you around to the restricted part of the property, and they show you the different things, the different vistas and things that Georgio O'Keeffe used in her paintings. And you get to compare her paintings, or they give you like copies, or paper copies of what you might see, and then you get out and you look at the landscape. And we could do that. I don't know that we'll do that. We were here to see the museums, so I guess we'll have to come back to see the museums, but we'll see the movie and walk around and see the property. And I don't know what Toby's doing. He's just pretty much messing around with cameras for the last hour and a half, I think. Not really doing anything else. He took one picture of us, a selfie, because I told him to. But other than that, he's just been poking around at the cameras and not really doing much. You'd think, professional videographer here.
Well, I
would
can't
actually
see
be
anything.
getting
Hold on.
video.
All right, so
He's not doing it.
Shelley gave you the story, and as we mentioned earlier, there are three basic stories at this place. One is the history of Ghost Ranch.
Do I have to repeat it 5 times?
The other is
You left it in the video.
relationship between Ghost Ranch and Georgio O'Keeffe, the artist. And the other was the museums. And I was really focused on the museums of paleontology and anthropology. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go around, collect some footage. We checked about drones, and they gave me a number to call. Unfortunately, we don't have a signal here, so I can't call. So that'll give me the opportunity during the week. I did rebook our our
Day pass.
day passes for next Friday. So we're going to come back next Friday and do this all over again, except this time I'll call beforehand to make sure the museums are open, and
Maybe we'll get here before 11:15 when the tour happens.
yeah, we can do the tour. And then I'll call the folks about some drone footage if I can get it. We're going to get some drone footage on the way back home.
because it's too good an area to pass up.
Okay.
Okay.
So what now?
So let's turn things off for just a second, and then let me get this launched here because I can't see what I'm doing. So, all right, we're going to go inside the visitor center now and just give you a tour there. There is a gift shop. We'll stop by the gift shop and see what
we
they
got the
have.
Roadrunner on the hat, which is very much like the Coeliophas. Maybe they have a hat with a Coeliophas in it, and then we could have both. Because we'd have the state bird and we
We'll
could
have
have
to
the
see
state
if
dinosaur.
they have one.
They didn't, so I had to get the
Hi there.
t-shirt.
How are you doing?
Good.
Are you leading the tour today?
I am. And you?
We are not on there. We were actually coming from museums today and didn't find out until we got here that the museums were closed. So we're coming back on Friday.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Bueno.
See how polite I am.
Bueno pues.
Bueno pues. Don't play with the camera again.
Yeah.
I just went with your camera here.
It's probably a good thing.
No, I'm still screwing around. Not get that pocket to cooperate.
Uh-huh.
So it's a very stylish New Mexican style home with adobes. Let me
Abiquiu.
see if I can get this in.
These must be free because they're abiquiuguide.org.
We got one. Two,
Yeah,
actually.
that's the one I picked up. Right there. They kind of clog up the hallway with sweatshirts. Fancy shirts with zippers. Jackets.
I kind of want one of those jackets.
Shirts and jackets and not cheap like they were at the national parks though. Well, here's the pictures of the Georgio O'Keeffe home. You're not allowed to go in there, but they have pictures of it so you can see the pictures. Or I can anyway. I didn't show them to you guys. For some
Could have gotten
reason.
that shot.
They're there.
You're still
Sorry,
looking at
I'm
me like,
messing with the camera again.
I couldn't get the gimbal to follow mode.
Oh, look, City Slickers was filmed here, it says. I guess. At least they have 1991, Jack Palance won the Academy Award. Driving into Ghost Ranch, the last remaining piece of the set, the City Slicker cabin, can be seen on the right. Aha. So part of it was filmed here.
Nice things in the gift shop, and it smells good. It smells like incense.
Did you have your camera on? Way out west?
I had it,
Coyote
but
named Frank.
so I had two cameras. I had the pocket, and I had the chesty.
But you're not showing the chesty. Not the kids.
The chesty is a picture of my pocket. So I could show the pocket, but it was redundant, so I thought I'd just go with you.
Little trays to put stuff in. Notebook. A dinosaur on it.
Very stylish.
It's
very
actually a
stylish.
sketchbook. Aha, of course. That makes sense. Fuzzy hats. We got magnets, t-shirts. We got pieces of art from Georgio O'Keeffe. Got soap and lotions and smell good stuff. This is also for the people who are staying here, so it's also like a, hotel shop or whatever. In case you forgot anything or wanted to buy something.
We should probably buy a Georgio O'Keeffe book, don't you think?
Oh, I'm sure we'll get something. We also got to go to the library. I want to get some more
Sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought
journals.
you were talking about the concert hoodies.
aprons.
Oh, look at the movies that were.
Yeah, we got City Slickers, Cowboys and Aliens, Wyatt Earp, Indiana Jones, and the Crystal Skull. Comanche Moon and Silverado.
Is that the only Georgio O'Keeffe book they have?
I don't know. Sometimes you just ask questions out loud, and I feel like I'm expected to answer them. Uh-oh.
Oopsies. Find a Sealy office's hat.
Didn't see any. Did not see dinosaur hats. Sealy off. We bought our tchotchkes at the gift shop. Got a t-shirt with a dinosaur on it. Some pins and patches and...
We didn't
Anything
get the
else?
book.
Didn't get the book.
We didn't get the book because it wasn't quite what I wanted. And I think what we may have to do is on the way back towards Espanola, there's the Georgio O'Keeffe Welcome Center.
Mm-hmm.
Now, her museum is in downtown Santa Fe. There's no Georgio O'Keeffe Museum here. But I think maybe if we stop by the Welcome Center on the way back, we might be able to pick up the book that I'm looking for, which is all Georgio O'Keeffe.
Now we're going to go to the
So-
library, right?
We're going to head up. We're going to head up towards the library,
Did you
and
lock the car?
I did.
Ghost house.
So the ghost house was the house that was originally built by the Archuletas, the cattle thieves, cattle rustlers that established this area. All right, you ready? That's the pocket. I'll let you go in first.
All the ghosties are in here.
All right, so I don't know whether we're going to have enough light to film anything.
This seems well lit.
Well, if you
So-
look at it, it's kind of grainy. The fact that it's shrunk down that size makes it look okay, but it's got some grain in it. It's shooting at,
Phoebe
ISO
Pack
3200.
sitting on the garden house porch with Arthur Pack and guests in 1936. It's cool, they've got photos. This casita housed George O'Keeffe during several of her summer visits. That was the house next door, the little cottage.
Some tin work.
Extensive
as usual.
vegetable garden, Ghost Ranch grew all of its own produce and had its own milk cow and chickens. Well, of course they should have that. See it all?
I think that was it. That room
Not all
there.
that much to see.
So this area is not open to the public.
Got a tin frame on the mirror here.
I saw that
Realize you'd already said that.
fireplace. So there's a
There's
room.
another door, but it says don't go in there, so that's how big the house is.
Ooh, I think
2
somebody
rooms,
just locked us
3
in.
rooms. These things lock us in.
Oh, it sounded like somebody put the
All
spring
right,
lock
we're
on.
not locked in. We can leave. Maybe
What
it was a
got
ghost.
skinned?
There's the
I don't
aid
know, Mary. I
station
didn't.
There.
Did you see what's got skinned on the wall?
There we are.
Probably a
Now we're
coyote.
going in. I don't know. It was fuzzy,
Probably
like
even have
furry
stuff
outside. Badger or something. I don't know.
Some of the books available for.
Adoption. Take these away. Take these away. Take these away. Put donations here. The History Channel, where the past comes alive. VHS. DVDs. Johnson House. There's no water there.
Excuse me.
And I guess if they have a yellow, it's fine. Hello.
Hi there.
How are y'all?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Good. Good. So these are
yellow,
probably, these
yeah,
are just
okay.
probably oversized or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
What else? I wonder if there's any other stuff.
So in the audio story that we were listening to, it mentioned that the library had a 2-set volume of Georgio O'Keeffe's A Compendium of All Her Work.
It should be in here somewhere. somewhere. This
Or
is
what about the top shelf?
Georgio O'Keeffe collection, right?
Oh, okay.
It's in here.
There you go.
It is Stieglitz.
So-
Oh, I have Stieglitz's book too.
And then here's here's some more. It might be these that you're looking for.
Are you speaking to me or the?
Same. Just get some. That's the chest.
Usually these are out on the table.
Oh, this is it.
Why are you not showing it?
It's coming back. Just I wanted to make a point that you could get it if you wanted. More camera like a drink tea.
These are usually out on the table, and aren't they? And these were the ones he was actually looking for that were
those
there,
are usually
so-
out on the table.
Okay.
Squeaky floors and doors, yeah. They're old.
Oh yeah, it is just basically a catalog of all her work. I wonder how
Toby
they
reads
chose
a
them
book.
divided by period. You think?
Toby reads a book.
That's what chesties are good for, though.
Showing your hands.
It's showing what you're doing.
Wow.
This is a religious experience for me.
I'm showing you the picture. A Sense of Place. I like that book. It showed the two things, the real thing and then the painting of it.
Well, I am having a hell of a time getting my.
I finally got it to do
I'm glad I
follow-up.
wasn't using it that day.
No, it was that. It was a mess.
I'm going to bet that the only place they sell these is going to be in the museum in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
8 books.
But this book you can probably find somewhere.
I feel like that one we could find maybe at the
And it's
Welcome
cool
Center.
because it's like it gives you the real picture of the hill and then her
Oh.
drawing her artwork.
Oh, I
of
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
Like we saw in the tour
Movie.
thing. And there's Chimney Rock.
Does it have El Padernal anyplace?
I'm sure it
pattern?
does. That's a lot of black.
So all of these buildings are built in the Spanish colonial style with vigas, adobe and vigas. So let's head back towards Abiquiu,
Okay.
and we'll stop at that picnic table and get some drone work there. And then we'll go back to the Welcome Center and see if they have anything.
Okay.
I'd like that one.
Yeah.
That would be a good one to have.
Well, if they don't have it, I'm sure you can get it on Amazon or something. Or eBooks.
Or 8 books.
So today ended up being more about shopping at the gift shop and learning a little bit more about the history of the Ghost Ranch and
was the name?
Georgio O'Keeffe. A Sense of Place.
I did change as I said, the reservations for next Friday. We want to come back, go to the museum. So that might even be a separate show. We could probably do a show with the material we have right now. So here's the plan for the rest of the day. Number one, we're going to go up a road towards the campsite area to see if we can get a picture of Chimney Rock, because we should get a picture of Chimney Rock. Then we're going to head back out, and once we get to Abiquiu Reservoir, there's a pull-off area, and on one side you've got Abiquiu Reservoir, and on the other side you've got some of these beautiful sandstone mountains that they have up here, sandstone bluffs, and very colorful. And then I think we're going to stop at the
And she was also responsible.
Georgio
for 2 big
O'Keeffe
volumes.
Welcome Center in Abiquiu, because while we were in the library, Shelley found a great book about Georgio O'Keeffe in New Mexico. And I'd like to pick that up. The 2-volume raison
Yeah.
looks like it's going to be, I don't
It's
know,
more of an oeuvre.
oeuvre rather than a raison. A genre. I'm running out of French words here.
Oeuvre makes more sense.
Yeah. But it looks like the kind of thing that's going to be $500 for the pair. I'll see if I can find them on Abe Books.
Which we don't need that badly.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we do. So anyway, off we go. The next time you
We
see us,
might get a print and hang it up in Toby's house.
yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
So the next time you hear from us, we'll be doing some drone work. All right, outside of Abiquiu,
Chimney
Reservoir.
Rock,
Chimney Rock. Let's go to Chimney Rock.
right
Okay.
over there.
Go ahead and turn it.
I'm going to order it. Free shipping.
What's going on?
Let's do some drone work as long as we're here. So we got the Abiquiu Reservoir in that direction. We got all the beautiful red rocks
Line on
and
there.
mountains here. And this one's probably a little bit too close, but if I fly kind of in this direction, I think it'll be a good shot. I don't think there's any restrictions. I should probably check, but once I turn it on, it'll tell me.
You sure love that piece of music.
It's so drony.
Droney. It's so New Mexico true.
It does, doesn't it? Doesn't it have that feeling?
Yeah. We're at the O'Keeffe Welcome Center just outside of Abiquiu, or just inside Abiquiu, or anyway, we're at the
Sorry.
Welcome Center.
Very modern, very stylish. I have a feeling we're going to get charged for it. And sometimes these guys are uncomfortable with cameras inside. So I'm going to ask permission. We may or may not get it. But across the way, let me get this. This is the Abiquiu Inn. So, but it has a
Little store. Little
restaurant. We could have dinner there.
Lunch, dinner, wine, beer, cappuccino.
What do you think? If nothing else, we'll have some cappuccino and desserts. Okay.
They had that crossed off.
The
There's no
cappuccino.
firearms, but it doesn't say no cameras.
Until 4.
4. What time do you have? I don't have my watch on. We got about a half hour.
15:23.
Let me check and make sure.
15:24. We got about a half hour, yeah.
How do you guys feel about cameras?
That's fine, just no flash on the exhibit and the pictures.
Got it. Do we need to pay you something? Nope. Can we just do it?
Roadmap is a 25-minute video, you're welcome to check it out.
Oh,
we
do we have
better-
time?
Just barely.
Okay, let's go do the, what do you want to do, the tour or the video? Hi there.
What tour?
Oh, the tour's off-season.
Okay, no, I mean, just walking around. How long will it take us to get around?
In here,
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to like read the surrounding.
no, we want to watch the video. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right.
Which,
We like watching videos. We're very visual. Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to turn you guys off. We're going to watch a video.
okay, so that was our day at the Ghost Ranch, and we're finishing it up with dinner at the Abiquiu Inn. And we've got the menus here, and we're gonna get ready to order. And they have a nice little gift shop. They have a gallery. You should stop by if you're already in the area anyway. What else?
That's about it. I don't want to say it was a disappointing day. We would have had a better show if we had the museums to go into, but I felt like we accomplished a lot. We got to see a lot. I certainly have enough footage for an entire show, so
Yeah.
we just may do that.
We
Come
just
back
know
another
that the
time.
focus is on Georgio O'Keeffe and the Ghost Ranch history, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, as opposed to the museums.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a separate trip.
Yeah,
So, okay, guys, thanks. Say bye.
bye.
I don't know how to say bye. So.
All right. We have a couple of questions to answer.
Okay, let's
I think you got too far back
see.
there.
Did I go too far back? Stepmom, beautiful rocket. Yeah, the I'm telling you, if you were a geology person, just for the if you were a photographer or a geologist, you'll have a great time there. Ghost dancer, love the cloudless blue sky. It is beautiful. It just it goes on forever. But it doesn't make for a good time lapse. You'll see the one we did next week. What was that about? Hold on.
Got skin.
Oh, we don't know what got skinned. It went by too quickly.
I don't know, it was
it
smallish and fluffy, fuzzy,
Wasn't it?
furry.
I guess I could go back and look at. I'll go back and look at for that to see
Maybe it
what
was
they
like
got.
a
Squeaky floors, indoor, everything. It's because it's that old-fashioned, old-style building, colonial style, and some of these buildings go back hundreds of years. Well, not hundreds, but 100 years. So is that just a reference library? It's
if you're staying on the property, you can check things out and take them to your room.
yeah.
They offer things like workshops and conferences there. So people stay there for those, sometimes for a week, sometimes for a weekend. And if you're there staying, then you can check things out from the library and take them to your room. But that's the extent of it.
Yeah. And it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So they also have a separate section for religious materials, because after all, it is a Presbyterian church property. But it was varied. For example, one of the courses they offer is in welding. And so there's a section of books in the
I think they
library
were
on
doing a
silversmithing.
one
Yeah.
this month.
Yeah.
And a painting one.
So they have all these different kinds of workshops, and some of the books that are in the library are representative of the workshops. So, Mary Green, I don't shop thrift books. When I want a used book, I usually go to Abe Books. I have an account there, and I've been building points up for years, so it's easier for me to go there. Okay, so
I
we
can
had a
take
good
that
trip.
one off the screen now.
Which one? Oh, what got skin? Did you do that?
No, you did that.
Oh, I did. Oh. So we had a good time nonetheless, even though the museums weren't open. So here's the good news. The good news is we changed our reservation. They allowed us to change our reservation, and because it's a $5 cover charge, basically. But the young lady who I remember, her name is Alicia because it was the same name as Shelley's daughter. And she just moved us to the following Friday. So that was Friday the 13th. We went back and we got in museums, and that's next week's show.
That's right.
So we actually got 2 full shows out of it.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful place. We shot a lot more photography. You'll see it next week. We shot a lot more photography the second time. We did get a time lapse. There were cirrus clouds in the sky. It wasn't even close to being partly
I called
cloudy.
it stratus.
I think stratus are the big billowy ones, aren't
No, they're
Yeah.
like the skinny.
Oh, well, then they were stratus clouds.
I looked it up because I put it in my blog post.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Research to the blog post, huh?
As I was talking about the clouds. I was
So,
like, which kind of clouds are these? They're stratus.
So it was a good trip. And if you go to the Abiquiu Inn, which is basically a hotel, they have both the closed rooms and they have little casitas that you can rent there. And it's along the Chama. Again, we're along the Chama River
I
up
thought
there.
it'd be a really cute place for like a small wedding reception.
Yeah,
or
they had
something
very cool patio.
Yeah, the patio was really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
It was a really nice facility. Both that and the welcome center.
For
Very
just
nice
out there in the middle of
facilities.
nowhere,
Yeah.
it just was that. But
Good
when we were
food.
there, both
Toby had the ABLT, avocado, bacon, lettuce, tomato.
and when we went back the second time, I had exactly the same
He
thing.
loved it
That's
so
how good it
much.
was. The bacon was that thick. It was literally that thick, and it was crunchy. It was so good. Went back and had that. Oh, and the first time I ordered fries because I didn't notice they made homemade potato chips. To die for. Absolutely to die for. Man,
And
those
then,
were good.
the next time we went back, we had you had the same thing, and I had the green chili cheeseburger
Mhm.
because I wanted to compare it to all the other green chili cheeseburgers from around the state, and it was the best one I'd had. It was very meaty. The meat was very hot, so it was just like off the grill, onto the plate, out to you. They were very quick with their service. As soon as you ordered, they, placed your order, and they had it out in less than 10 minutes.
And
I
our
think.
service person was Erica. And the reason I remember that is because I have a daughter named Erica.
Yeah. So excellent place to stop at. And, instead of going to some chain restaurant or something in Espanola.
And it wasn't that
or Santa
expensive.
Fe.
It wasn't a $75 meal for the
No.
two of us. It was probably in the low 30s for the two of us with drinks.
Yeah.
So I would go back there.
Definitely.
That
we
will,
did because it was
that
awesome.
actually will be a stop anytime we're headed in that
Yeah.
direction
Yeah.
because I fished the Chama and I've never stopped there on the way up to fish the Chama River. So
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to know it's coming because it's kind of, you're on the highway and then suddenly you got to turn really fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to kind of know that it's coming.
yeah, there's no road signs. Like there's no sign
Yeah,
telling you.
there was. I remember when we were coming back for it, I saw the sign that said it.
Oh, next
it was
turn.
it was like
Well,
600 feet.
Coming
ahead or
back is
something.
even worse because you're against that mountainside.
On your left.
You don't
turn
see
your
it.
left.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
just be aware of that.
it's highly recommended. Abiquiu Inn and the Abiquiu Inn Cafe.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Welcome Center, is free. The movie was great, very informative. The people that we dealt with there were very kind. Let us walk around with cameras, and they have a very complete gift shop.
Nice
That's where I got this book.
Yeah.
Which is not the one that I
They have
just
a lot of
ordered.
art materials and things in there for sale.
I just went to A Books and I bought the one that Shelley wanted. So that was discounted on A Books, used but in good condition. So, it was a good trip for us. And it was easy, when we realized that, these are things we leave the house at 8:00 in the morning because it's a 3-hour trip and you want to have time for all of
9.
that. So, pardon?
We didn't leave at 8. We left at 9.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I got up at 7:30 to meet Shelley. At 9.
Remember my alarm didn't go off that day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because
You were a little rough around the edges there.
well, actually, that was Friday that happened.
Yeah.
No, you came and picked me up that day.
Oh, the first day. That's right.
Yeah.
I picked you up.
Then Friday, my
The problem
alarm
with-
didn't go off because I.
Because-
It's just silly alarms. Remember when you used to set your alarm and it would go off the next morning at that time? Well, now you have to tell it what day you want it to go off. And I thought it was going to be Saturday and it was Friday. So it didn't go off because it was only Friday. It wasn't Saturday. So I had set my alarm incorrectly. So I woke up at 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock like I had planned. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, would you hand me that? I do have to get up for a second.
What?
The binder, because
This?
I want to go get something. Hold on.
Where you
I'll be
going?
right back. I'm going into the kitchen. I'll be right back.
Oh boy, that means I have to entertain people. You could have done it while I was telling the story, and then you would have been back by the time I had finished telling the story. But yeah, sometimes, their Fitbits are awesome because you could set your alarm and then it just buzzes on your wrist and it wakes you up very nice and, calmly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. And, but you have to remember what day it is when you set it.
Okay.
Okay.
So Kevin, Shelley's husband, has decided to sell his coin collection. And our first plan was, because it's such an extensive collection, our first plan was to start selling them on eBay. Shelley doesn't have an eBay account, so we're going to use my eBay account. So we put a test up there, and just to see, because I wanted to see what impact it had for both the cost of using eBay plus the shipping and all that other stuff. So
Scott loves coins.
So I got just 4 pieces, and I got to tell you, if this collection has to be weighed in hundreds of pounds, it is an extensive collection.
It's heavy.
So I wanted to get
What's
some
this?
sample stuff, something that was effective sample to put on eBay. And so I got these 4 books, right? She had 4 of these, and these are, I don't know if you can see them. They're Benjamin Franklin 50-cent pieces. They were in the silver period from 1948 to 1963, right? And it's the complete collection, right? So I put that on eBay, and I just put the price that other people were selling the same collection for, $435, right? But it's a complete collection of Benjamin Franklin's, and we had 4 of them. And I have a jeweler that I do a lot of business with downtown. For example, every year they change the batteries in my watches, and then if I want to buy Shelley a present, I'll go there to get the jewelry, and they always give me good prices. So we went there, and I wanted to take this piece to them, and I wanted to see what they would offer for it. So this is an 1882 $10 gold piece, right? That was part of the collection. Shelley wears it every once in a while, right? You've seen it around her neck, and it's got a 14 karat gold necklace chain with it, And so I thought, let me take it there and see what they would offer it. And I took some of the other silver. I took some silver dollars, some Morgan silver dollars, some Liberty silver dollars, some Kennedy pre-64 Kennedy silver, and I said, how do you guys work this? Because literally it is hundreds of pounds worth of this material, of silver and gold, and just there's probably 50 pounds of pennies. Okay. So we were trying to figure out, how can we sell this on eBay and not literally, but the conclusion I came to was that Shelley and I would have to literally stop everything else and become a coin seller business on eBay for the next 3 years to do all this stuff. So I wanted to see what they would do, right? What kind of things that they would do. And they basically made us an offer on the spot, like, bring it in, here's the prices we pay. It was fair prices, but what you do is you bring it all in, and they have 3 of their numismatic specialists sit down. They go through every coin to make sure that, in one case, it might be a silver dollar worth, like a peace dollar is worth $19 in silver. That's what they'll pay you. But if it's an 1881 Morgan dollar, it's a $2,000 coin. So they actually go through it and they separate out the coins that may have other value. And then when they're done with everything, they offer you a price. And from what I've done business with them in the past for both selling silver and gold, and it's always a fair price. It's a, it's a sales price. I'm going to show you something else. So I wanted to explain to them what we were talking about. So I took a picture of some of the stuff that we have already. I'm going to hold this up right there. So let's see, how do we do this? Okay. So those are some cartridge, some ammunition cans full of silver coins of various denominations. And that's just part of it. I mean, this collection goes on forever. And like I said, we could either become coin sellers on eBay, or we could take it to someone who can evaluate it all. They said if we could, it'll take us a day to evaluate it. And we sit in the same room with them and drink cocktails, apparently. Because they had a bar behind them.
At 9 a.m. I don't
At
think
9
so.
a.m. Yeah. Anyway, so I took them this, and this is in, like I said, in 1882 $10 eagle, right? Or is it a half eagle? Let's see, it's not going to look good in the light there, right? And they made me an offer. And then I compared that to what I had seen on eBay, and I thought their offer wasn't low for a buyer, right? For somebody that's buyer has to make a profit. You have to accept the fact that they offer you a price that's going to enable them to make a profit on these things. So I will be putting this on eBay, and just look up T Eunice on eBay and it'll be on there. It'll be more than $1,400, but it shouldn't be. The highest price I saw for exactly the same thing was around $2,500, and the coin didn't look half as good. And I'll take close-up pictures of it. So I think we're going to put it up there for around $2,000, maybe just under $2,000. And that's probably the value of the coin without the 14 karat gold necklace. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in gold. It's the only one that we'll probably put on eBay. I'm going to leave the Benjamin Franklin coin set up because eBay doesn't like it when you put something up and then you take it down without attempting to sell it. So I'm going to leave that there. So those are the only two pieces.
These might be of interest because they're not coins, they're tokens. So I don't know if
but they're the complete collection.
Yeah.
Two complete collections, right?
No, it's one complete collection and then some extras.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Didn't you have another one at home?
Yeah, there's another one in the collection somewhere, and I don't know how much is all there. If that's all complete, that might be complete. But anyway, these are bronze tokens, and they have the president from George Washington through Lyndon Johnson, and they're bronze, and they have a little story on the back about each president. Has a little blurb about him on the back. And it tells you on the front, when he served as president. And so it's pretty cool.
And sure enough, they're selling on eBay as the collections.
From Shell
Oil.
They had some kind of promotion back in 1992. And, but they're tokens. So I don't think they have any numismatic value. They have more like a collectible kind of a value. So
Scott, as an example, I showed him one of our peace dollars. I say our, these are Shelley's and Kevin's peace dollar. And he said they're selling from $19 to $23. That's what they pay for them, depending on the condition. But they're buying them at higher than spot because they have greater value. I had noticed that silver had gone up quite a bit recently because there's a shortage. And it's related to the shortage of electronics equipment. People were having chip makers. Well, behind gold, silver is the most often used metal in chip making. So there's a big shortage right now, and that's kind of one of the reasons that there's the chip supply chain is so far off. So I was surprised at the offers he was making just for the non-numismatically important ones. But they actually have experts going through every one of these coins, and if they see something that's not just your standard run-of-the-mill peace dollar or Benjamin Franklin half dollar, etc., they pull that out, and then they give you a numismatic offer for it as opposed to the. But it's better than the spot price right now, just based on what they were saying. So anyway,
a new story to tell. I guess.
So new stories. We do have the Franklin halves complete collection. Franklin halves. will stay up there because, like I said, eBay doesn't like it when you put something up. And then I thought we could do better on eBay for the gold coin and gold chain. It's 14. Of course, it's a 0.9995 gold coin. It's a 14 karat chain. And I thought we could do better on that than the offer that they made. If not, we can always take it back to them and accept that offer. So keep an eye out for it. Actually, when the next time we see you, I'll have a link for you in case you're interested for the necklace.
Yeah. And the silver dollar link was in the newsletter
The half
this
dollar,
week.
half dollar link.
Half dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Benjamins.
The Ben.
It's all about the Benjamins.
No, they call them when they do those coin roll YouTube things.
Yeah.
They call them Benjis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the Benjamins.
And the Liberties, they call them Libbies.
Oh.
Instead of having to use 3 syllables. All right, guys. I think that's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Ghost Ranch. The video should be up by now. I think I had it scheduled for 8:30. So the video by itself should be up. And you will see our Friday visit, the second visit next week, because we went back.
Are you going to tell them anything about the other channel?
I'm not quite, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Oh, okay. You don't have to. I was just checking in, see if you wanted to mention it.
So, all right. So as you guys know, I have interests in a lot of different areas. And I've always had what is called the hobbyist interests in gold prospecting. I have the pens, I have the classifiers, I have the buckets, and every once in a while I go out, dig some dirt, throw it in, and see if I can pan out some gold. Well, I had never bought pay dirt, because you can buy pay dirt that claims to have a certain amount of gold in it. But I ran into a guy, it's in Russian, so we can't understand what he's saying anyway.
Oh, okay.
So I ran into a guy, his name is Colton Young. And he's an interesting guy because I don't know if he's like an engineer, but he happens to be an expert at 3D printing, and he is a gold prospector. And he's way more serious about this. And so he uses his acumen in 3D printing as I'm going to call it a storage facility full of 3D printers constantly operating. Well, I watched a video that showed me some of the equipment that he made. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to get that so I have it the next time I'm out. I got this stuff. So I started researching it, found his website. It's called Magnet Mining, or Mining Magnets. And there is black sand, but it's hard to find. There are placer deposits in New Mexico, but they are few and far between, and they were all worked out before the end of the 1920s, right? They started working them in the 18. Well, you saw our trip to Turquoise, the Turquoise Trail, and there is gold. But first of all, establishing a claim is harder than hell anymore, and there just isn't enough of it to make it worthwhile. There is no gold mining in New Mexico, right? But you can prospect. The GPAA, the Gold Prospectors Association of America, has locations that you can go on, dig. The other thing is none of the placer deposits are anywhere near water. So you do that dry prospecting, and it's kind of anyway, I don't want to talk about it because it just makes me mad, because I live in New Mexico. I would rather live in
Colorado.
Colorado has some great places, and they're all near water. Anyway, so I had a question about the way he was selling this stuff on the website, because it was a little bit confusing. So I reached out to him, contact me, and here's a text. I sent him a text message. He called me right back, literally. So we got into a long conversation about what he was doing, why he did it, and my idea for establishing a YouTube channel. And that's why I was buying the equipment. And he said, oh, well, okay, let's talk about some dealing that we could do, because he has a YouTube channel that only has a little over 1,000 subscribers. And he's not a YouTuber, right? He's a lot of things, but he's not a YouTuber. And he just wants to have a place where somebody can do credit to his equipment, because it's amazing equipment. Some of the stuff he designs is just amazing. He's got one, Mary, you would be interested in that. In this, he designed a machine that uses magnets to remove black
magnetite.
magnetite or black sand from your concentrates. I mean, it literally does. It pours it in 2 different jugs, pours your black sand in one jug and your concentrates in the other. And I thought, that's ingenious, because that's always, if any of you have ever done any panning, I'm going to start talking about panning. Here's the deal. I am going to start a channel. I'm going to take the old AGK channel, and I'm going to start making videos. First, I've invited Coulter to be on the first one so we can talk about his equipment. I've got the shipment is arriving on Friday of the equipment that I bought from him. And so I'll probably do a couple of videos with that equipment. He sent me, included in the deal was, he sent me some of his pay dirt, which he guarantees has gold in it. And I said, sometime in February, I'd like to start maybe the first week in February, and I'd like to have a show. And the first one is going to have Colton on the show. And we're just going to talk about his equipment. I'm going to use it. And then I'm going to order pay dirt, 1 container a week. And then the show's going to be about that particular brand of pay dirt. And I haven't done this yet. I haven't kind of thought about it. But if any of you have areas that have pay dirt and you have a way to process it, dig up you remember how you used to send me the sand? Send me a pound
Bag of dirt.
Send me a bag of dirt, a pound
Joey
of dirt.
bag of dirt.
It's Joey bag of dirt. It was Joey bag of donuts. Send me that and we'll process it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do with the channel, because it sounded like a lot of fun. I have no idea whether it's not going to see any kind of success, but it's sitting out there and I wanted to do something with it. So that's what we're going to do with it. So that's why Shelley said, you want to tell them about the new channel.
It's coming in February.
It's called Garage Prospecting, and basically it's just having bags of pay dirt and processing them until you find the gold. And then what I was thinking about doing, I don't know if you recall, but I had bought some vials, some little tiny very stylish vials. And when we were doing the world's vials,
sign language vials.
Yeah, vials. When we were doing the World Sand Project, if somebody sent me some sand, I would put some in a vial and I would send it to necklace size. So what I'm thinking about doing is, I have an Etsy store that I haven't used in years, but what I'm thinking about doing is any gold that I find in these various pans or these pay dirt packages, I'm going to put that in a vial, and then I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it in on my Etsy store, so you guys can, you can buy vials of gold instead of that fake stuff that they sell you with. It's that gold foil in what's that oil? Clear oil. It starts with a G, I think.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe Mary does.
I'm sure Mary knows all. Mary knows everything. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I haven't quite convinced Shelley just yet. It'll take some time. But
play in the dirt.
Well, you don't have to play on that. You don't even have to play in the dirt. You just have to be on the show and look your adorable.
And make fun of you?
And
I
make
can
fun
do
of
that.
me. Yeah. Be your adorable self and make fun of me playing in the dirt. Yeah. So let's do that.
Toby bag
Mineral
of dirt.
oil. Thank you, Scott.
Oh,
Mineral oil. Yeah, that's
See?
the other thing that
That's
Scott's
why
good
we
at,
have
is
to have an audience.
we have to have an audience to tell us what
words otherwise.
Exactly. Because we have good words when we can remember them.
But we need help from our audience to give us words. Yep.
So I think that's it for tonight.
That's it for tonight. If that wasn't enough, I don't know what.
I don't know.
I don't know how to entertain you any further.
Yeah, we did our best. We did our best.
We'll be back again next week.
Yeah.
To talk more about Ghost Ranch.
Can you tell we're really excited about Ghost Ranch?
Paleontology Museum and the Anthropology Museum. We went into those, and Coelophysis, and we're going to talk about the Mountain of Bones and all that good stuff. And we have a time lapse and some photos.
We got time lapse. We got more drone footage on the property this time.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. We went Friday the 13th, but it was a beautiful day.
What was interesting is we had a lot of people coming up to us and going like, "Well, where are you guys from? What do you do?"
They must have been there for that painting workshop.
The painting workshop. Yeah. What do you do? We were sitting out there in the back of the truck on the tailgate of the truck, shooting the time lapse. It takes a half hour, so you have to think of something to do. And some lady just walked up out of the blue and she goes, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, this looks interesting." So I told her we were planting a bomb.
We did some more droning.
We did. Pardon?
We did some more droning.
We did some more droning on the property because because it's always easier to
Because we just wanted
apologize.
to.
And it is, yeah, because we figured, come on, nobody's looking. Let's
And
do
because
it.
according to the FAA, it's legal.
The FAA says so those drones are electronically controlled enough so that if you can get higher than 3 feet, then it's okay because it's set up not to do that. You can't, if you're within like an airport area or a restricted area, it doesn't launch. So it's
Probably when we go to Los Alamos, we probably won't.
Yeah,
have any
there's not going to be
footage
drone
there.
footage unless we're headed for Los Alamos. That's our next, what the Bradbury Museum?
Bradbury
Science Museum. Yeah, we're headed up there. No drones in Los Alamos.
Mm.
They will shoot that they will fire a surface to air missile at your drone. All right, that's all we got. I should have that other O'Keeffe book in hand by the time we see you guys. So I'll share that with you then. All right. And thanks for letting us know about the audio problem. I know we've done that before. It's just that I hadn't used the overhead camera for a while and I forgot. The minute you plug it in,
That's why we need an audience.
StreamYard says, hey.
Keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Got one more comment there.
One more comment. Okay. I think it's just a good night.
Cool,
Bradbury.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Bradbury Science Museum? It's supposed to be very good.
Yep. All right. And we will be back again next week with more.
More Ghost Ranch.
See you then.
All right. Love you guys.